man, you know.
Well, he felt the power, man. Yeah.
Then I took him out for 2 more times, and then we were out. Actually, we were out here for the Outlaw Challenge the year before he had his boat, and the Black Diamonds that we were talking about. That's on your here.
Right. Yeah.
They were out there running, and he goes, "I want one just like that." I said, "Do you want a black boat?" He goes, "Yeah, I want a black boat." And I went, "All right, you're the boss. So when do you want to get it?" He says, "Well, I mean, what do I need to do?" I said,
Tomorrow.
I said, "It takes 8 months to get it." We actually did it in a little less than 8 months because they wanted to get him done first.
Sure. Yeah. All of a sudden, he got up to the top of the list.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and also they weren't as busy as they are now.
Okay.
And so we flew up there, and they were real nice, and everybody was glad to see him and meet him, and we all try to talk him out of a black boat because black is so hot in the summertime.
Sure.
But he wanted the special skulls and stuff and guns and everything all over the boat.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you want something like a gang thing, yeah? He says, "Oh, yeah, I like it," because he's a big gun collector.
Yeah.
He has a lot of guns. And said, okay, so we got the painter in there, and they did a rendering and 2 or 3 renderings. And they probably did 5 or 6 renderings. They finally found one they liked. And said, okay. And I said, well, Mario, time to shell out some money.
Yeah.
At least in this case, he knew he had it, right? I mean, sometimes.
I knew his check was good.
Right.
So this is an interesting part of the story. So, like Bruce said, he took him out a couple times, and then he had kind of picked out the boat, and then he, right before he picked out the boat, this is when he got $100 million contract. So, yeah, he had kind of picked out everything and pretty much pulled the trigger, and then he got the deal. Bruce said literally within, like, the same day or the next day you got the call, right? So
right. It was, I think it was the same week he got it.
You saw it on the news, and then you got the call, and he said, I'm ready. He said, I knew you were ready.
Yeah, we went up there and we got it, ordered and everything, and he made the first payment, and it took us about, I think, a little less than 8 months, and the boat came over here on a tilt trailer, and he wasn't even here yet, and they had a big party over at Endeavor for him, and all these people came out, and I was like, wow, I didn't realize to get this many people here.
Yeah,
and he was just ecstatic. He said, wow, that's pretty awesome, because they embroidered the seats and everything, and with the wolf and all that, and it was really nice.
Yeah,
it was. Really,
and what's the deal with the wolf? That was just like his
It's his Instagram.
Yeah. Okay.
Call.
I want to say he went to North Carolina State, and I want to say that's
the wolf.
Yeah, the Wolf Pack or
right.
Oh, he's part of the wolf.
Yeah, I want to say that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Sounds good.
His career was, the Houston Texans. Then when he went to Buffalo,
yeah.
And then he went. His last one was Miami.
That's right. He
did a couple of years with them, and then he decided to retire.
Sure.
He'd had enough. I think he had enough of all the, the wear and tear on your body.
Oh God, I can't even imagine. Yeah.
And
he made $100 million plus.
Well, he probably made close to 200 total.
Right.
Yeah, I would say probably with endorsements and the 3 different teams. I mean, wow.
No, and I remember when the Texans drafted him. Obviously, there a lot of people were disappointed because there was Reggie Bush, Vince Young, he turned out to be the better pro of the 3.
So which is awesome.
Turned out to be a good pick by the Texans.
Yeah, some people actually were a little upset over that, but
absolutely.
I think that most people probably are happy with the outcome.
Well, you can't. In hindsight, it was the right pick.
We actually got to do one. He never did a poker run here with me. He wanted to go, but he never. Like I said, at one point. He had too many people to go on the boat, so we couldn't go. But we did make a date to go to Lake Havasu, and that was.
Oh wow!
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the Havasu.
We actually, had to get it trucked over to Lake Havasu, and we all flew over there. And he had different planes, different times, and we met. And I rented a house for us with like 20 people. It was a little overdone, but it reminded me of going back into the college days.
Yeah.
Everybody just takes a place and goes to sleep, and of course they drink all night, and all the good things that go along with that. But it was a lot of fun, and we took them. We did the poker run. The first leg of the Lake Havasu poker run is really like a race.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, they say it's not, and we have to downplay it and all that, but. It's a race.
It's a race
because they get everybody in. They get the fastest boats in line, and they of course they lecture you. Watch out what you're doing and be careful and this and that. But it's like wild horses. They're all waiting, and so they take us around. We parade around through the London Bridge, underneath the London Bridge, and then around, and we get up on the water, and they get us at like 40, 50 miles an hour, and then they drop a flag, and I was like, that looks like a race.
Yeah. That's funny.
And it's about 20 miles to the first deal, and everybody races to that. After that, it all calms down. Nobody races after that because you got boats coming and going.
Right. Yeah.
You're just watching out for each other and everything. But it's a pretty wild poker run. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot. I haven't been in. The last time I was there was a couple years ago.
So you've got, so obviously we're at one point we're the third largest. I think right now we're like, right in between that third and fourth largest boating market in the country. You've got Havasu, you've got Lake of the Ozarks, you've got the Bay Area here in Houston and Galveston, which we consider, the waterfront capital of Texas.
Waterfront capital of Texas, yeah.
And then you've got, South Miami, and I mean that's
Florida,
pretty much where these boats are ran, right? I mean we're one of a few places where these boats exist. That's why, like you said, you've been able to move so many boats here in Houston because there is a calling for it, and there is the oil and gas money and people that they're into motors, and Texas is a combustion state.
I would have to say California is the hot rod state.
Really? Okay.
But number one still is Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
If you haven't been there, it will blow your mind.
Yeah.
They got so many boats on that lake.
I've seen photos of like 400 boats like tied next to each other, all over $500,000. Just like $1 billion in boats. Like wow.
Well, for the shootout, they have a 2-mile no wake zone. They're boats for 2 miles, one after another, and most of them are yachts. They have smaller boats too.
Wow.
But you figure out there must be at least 3,000 or 4,000 boats out there.
Jeez.
To watch this
yachts,
shootout.
speed boats. These are not cheap. Yeah. Wow.
And then the fastest boats in the world go there. Their top one right now is 244 miles an hour in a kilo, which is super impressive.
244
on the water
is what they're running on the Ozarks right now.
Well, that was one boat.
Well, right. What is this boat?
At what point does it just take off into the air?
Oh, that's a good question because
yeah. It's a plane. Yeah,
right.
You have to. They can be planes if you're not careful.
Right.
You have to have enough air going in and enough air going out, so it has to be equal. If you got too much air going in, you are going to lift over.
Yeah.
If you don't have enough, it's not going to run fast enough. So they had a 50-foot Mystic. It had two 7,500 horsepower turbine motors in it.
Wow.
15,000 horsepower. And that's how they got to go 244 miles an hour. And they only did it once. The first one was 210. When they did the second one, they said they weren't doing a third one because it was getting light.
They were about to lift off. Yeah.
So but the boat was probably a $5 or $6 million boat, easy.
Wow, man, that's cool.
It was owned by Qatar.
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Qatar, Qatar. I've heard it.
It looks like Qatar. I think I've heard it both ways. And
honestly,
I'm still not on top of which.
I've heard it both ways too,
Yeah.
from people that live there. I've sold some boards to some guys there, and they actually say Qatar, but I've heard white Americans say Qatar.
Qatar, yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways.
I think there's a huge U.S. air base there, right?
They've got money. That's a fact. So yeah, I've been there. I've actually flown into Qatar when I was in the military, and I went overseas. So I got to spend 1 or 2 nights there on a base. We didn't get to go into town, into the city, which is actually really beautiful, and it's grown since then. This was back in 2007 and 8. Just Dubai, Qatar, they've come. They've built a lot since then. So.
Oh yeah.
I've heard that Dubai's twice the size that it was since I was there in 2013.
This
is 7 years ago.
I was there 2 years
Dubai.
ago. I was there 2 years ago, and it was. It just blows your mind.
Yeah.
I was there in 2008.
Wow. Yeah.
It was okay, that's pretty nice. It's pretty big now. It's like.
And that was right around when they were building the tallest building in the world.
Yep.
They were probably in construction, and then they finished that in 2011 or 12 maybe. And so that was one of the first buildings, and they've built around that. Now the infrastructure is just massive.
When I was taking the taxi from the airport to my hotel in Dubai in 2000, that was 17 or 18. I think it was 17. When I was taking the taxi there, I was talking to the taxi driver, and I said, where did all these buildings come from?
Yeah.
He says there's 500 buildings within that area now.
Yeah.
There weren't any before, hardly any.
Yeah, I heard.
Most of them are empty. They're still not full.
Yeah, I think between Dubai and Abu Dhabi, they have over 1 1,000 skyscrapers.
Skyscrapers, yeah.
Yeah, and when we say skyscraper, I think you have to be like over 60 floors, so there's...
Or that might be super skyscrapers, I think, are 60. Skyscrapers
really?
might be, or, there's...
So they probably have like, 1,000 skyscrapers, but most of their buildings are 80, 90, 100 floors.
No, it's
I mean, that's common. 100-floor building is like not a big deal there. Like that's crazy. Like,
and the crazy thing is, it's in the desert, so it's not like it's like dense. It's not like Hong Kong where you have the mountains kind of in the water forcing you to build up, right? Or Manhattan, right? You got small.
No, they have plenty of space.
There's space.
Yeah, that is interesting. I never thought about
right?
that. Yeah.
I think about that every time I look at it.
Because Houston, right? I mean, we got some skyscrapers, but overall, Houston's a greater
Spread
Houston
out,
area. It's very spread out because we've got the space. We're at sea level, right? So you kind of do that. That's interesting. City like Chicago, that's gridlocked.
Home of the
somewhere like
skyscraper,
Seattle. They've got it. They only have so much room.
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I know Jordan and I we've gone deep on skyscraper conversation.
No, we're super into.
We'll save that for a show where we don't have an awesome guest.
Yeah,
we're trying to kill time.
I tell you what is nice too is Abu Dhabi has become like Dubai.
Yeah.
They used to be nothing. When I went in 2008, I be honest with you, it was so expensive. I had to go to Abu Dhabi. My first night room was $600 a night for a Holiday Inn.
Oh,
and I was like, I can't afford to be here for 10 days. That's $6,000.
Right.
Yeah.
So
just for lodging.
Oh, it's a business trip. Write it off.
Right.
Yeah, right.
You won't have nothing left.
Exactly.
Anyway, the people I was with, I said, look, I can't afford this. And they said, our secretary, she'll take you to Abu Dhabi. You get one for $100 a night. And I said, sure enough, they took me over there, and they did have them. It's a lot cheaper. But now they're back up in price because they've developed their area too.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of marinas, new marinas. They had old marinas before because I looked around at some of their boats and I wasn't impressed.
Yeah.
They had a lot of fishing boats. They're big into fishing, but they copy everything. They have their own glass, companies over there, fiberglass companies that build boats.
Yeah.
They like to take a boat and kind of make a copy, kind of like the Chinese.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But you go into Dubai, everything there is first class.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's, you won't believe it, and I've actually met Americans living there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have a friend that lives there right now. He used to work in Afghanistan for years, a contractor, and then because they have to fly in and out of Dubai to get into Afghanistan when they're contractors, and even most of the military has to do that as well. Right. He fell in love with Dubai, and then he moved there. Yeah, he's from Houston, right here in Clear Lake. Lived in San Antonio for 7 years when I was out there, and now he's a resident of UAE, United Arab Emirates. Like, who would have thought? I mean, and he loves every second of it.
Nice.
It's a very safe place. Very safe. There's nobody. Their crime is almost nothing.
Yeah, Bruce is right. They're so strict on the laws. Yeah. If you get in a fight, I remember when I went, he had been a few times, and when I went, he said, whatever you do not fight anyone. Not that, I'm out there fighting people, but he just, because you're going to bars, you're hanging out, you're at restaurants, you don't know these people, you're just, he said, don't fight anybody. They will literally lock you up. You'll be locked up abroad. Like, they will put you in jail for 6 months over a fight. So like he said, you're not going to get jumped on the street or anything because the punishment is so harsh, like, people don't do it. Like, it's wild.
It's the old style, the Arab style of justice.
Right.
Mm-hmm. In fact, when I was in Abu Dhabi, I got picked up by the guy that owned the dealership I was helping over there, and he showed me a race car dealership. It was Ferrari, Porsche, every kind of imaginable $1 million cars in there. This is a Sunday morning. He picked me up at like 6:30 in the morning because my hours were all messed up.
Yeah, sure.
And he said, I want to show you something before we go to breakfast. I said, okay. We go up to this dealership. It looks like a real nice dealership here. Nobody there, and the doors are wide open. I said, excuse me, what's this? He says, nobody's going to do anything to these cars. I promise you. If they do,
they're gone.
They're gone. They'll take their head off or their hands or whatever they do.
Wow, yeah.
It's very, like you said, swift justice.
Yeah, swift justice, yeah.
So they don't worry about that kind of stuff. And if there is a problem, it's done. They take care of it right away.
Yeah. So, and then we'll get back to this area, but to end on Dubai, so next to the water, so you've sold a couple boats out there or dealt with some guys racing boats out there. So, what they do, they're on the I guess it's the Red Sea is what they're doing over there. I think it's,
In Dubai? In Dubai, I sold.
I know they've got Jumeirah Beach. The water is super hot there, but they have a lot of water, actually.
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually